Welcome to The Daily Show, live from race headquarters in Alicante. We're going to be hearing from Team AkzoNobel. Chris Nicholson, watch captain. They haven't been having the best start to leg 8. We're going to be checking in with them. Plus, we're going to be hearing from Turn the Tide on Plastic. Federico De Mello, crew member, spoke to me just before we came on air to give us the lowdown about how the race was going so far for them. Also, Sam Matson, race expert. He was on the show yesterday. He's going to be joining us again. Right now, he's just doing the 1300 position report. And we've got a competition starting tomorrow with a very fantastic prize. Well, we think so anyway. Details on that coming up at the end of the show. But first of all, let's take a look at the tracker. Well, there's been a lot of jostling in position because all the fleet know that they need to find the right position to start sailing up north towards the finish line in Irigaray. Sunhunkai Scallywag have decided to make their way up on the western side of the fleet. Vestas Limithar Racing, they're on the top of the fleet at the moment. And Turn the Tide on Plastic, the boat that was #1 in the rankings, is now out on the east. Well, Sam Matson's here. Sam, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you got your position report out of the way. Let's just talk about what we're seeing out in the water, because it's a little bit of a complicated picture. Turn the Tide on Plastic, they're on the east. Yep. Vestas Limithar Racing ranked #1. Who's in the lead? Who's in the best position? Or are they the same thing?
Well, Vestas is in the lead. They're closest to the finish. They're further north. They're in a really strong position there for sure. But like you said before, Turn the Tide went into this in the lead, and they've clearly made a strategical call to get out to the east there.
Okay, now this is what I want to talk to you about. Let's bring up the tracker here, and let's just go a little way ahead, 10, 12 hours. Talk us through why that eastern position might benefit Dee Caffari and her crew.
So really short term, what we're expecting to see is possibly a slight flick left in the breeze. At the moment, breeze is coming in from around here. It's going to go forwards a little bit, which will allow Turn the Tide to maybe crack the sheets a little bit more, sail down over the central boats, and kind of rejoin the fleet in a, hopefully ahead.
Okay, so first gains then towards Turn the Tide on Plastic to the east. Fingers crossed if the forecast plays out. But then the question there is, Vestas Limithar Racing were right next door to them only a few hours ago. Now they're not. They have set themselves up in a very different approach. Why is Vestas thinking, no, we're going to do this differently?
Well, I mean, long term, they're laying the eastern tip of Brazil. Do they really need to sail the extra miles out to the east to get up towards the northern tip? Or should they just stay in front of #1 and 2 in the overall rankings and see how that goes for them?
Oh, well, show us that reaching here. Let's take another little look at the tracker and let's wind it even further forward. I mean, I guess what you're saying is Vestas 11th Racing here, they're thinking not 24, but 3 days ahead.
Absolutely. The long-term strategy is that the breeze is going to keep shifting right, and effectively they're going to end up downwind by the time they get up to here. So they're all laying. Do they need to sail the extra distance? There's possibly a little bit more wind offshore, but effectively they could all converge and be in a long line around Recife.
A complicated picture. The first gain then, over the next 12 hours, going to Turn the Tide on Plastic. Then the next gain towards Vestas 11th Racing, maybe even Sunhunkai Scallywag out towards the west. So, I mean, it shows quite a different amount of confidence in the different skills you have on the boat. Turn the Tide on Plastic, looking for every little opportunity that they can to pull some miles into their lead before we get into that boat speed battle.
Yeah, I mean, taking advantage of what we were talking about yesterday with the binary decisions, they've taken the last possible opportunity just to get a little bit further east, dig into potentially a little bit more pressure, this left shift that could happen over the next 12 hours or so, and that could benefit them. Whereas you look at Vestas, they've gone for more of a boat speed battle here. They've positioned themselves directly in front of numbers 1 and 2, Dongfeng, Mapfre, and they're locked into a boat speed battle for the long reach up towards Recife.
And I'm guessing, I mean, when you're confident in your boat speed, you don't need to make these bold moves. Maybe Turn the Tide on Plastic knows that in the past, they haven't been the fastest boat. But as you were saying yesterday, that was a long time ago. So if you're fans of Turn the Tide on Plastic and you want to see Dee Caffari and her crew still in the lead when all this little reshuffle is over, what have we got to see Turn the Tide on Plastic do, and by when?
I mean, not just Turn the Tide, we also need to see a little change in the weather. We need to see that breeze go slightly left. We need to see them take advantage of that, sail lower, faster, in line with the fleet, before then accelerating and heading north in a line towards Recife.
Well, the big question is, do the crew know what's coming up and how do they feel about their Eastern strategy? Just before we came on air, I caught up and I spoke with Federico De Mello and asked him, well, how are things going? And so far, very much a happy boat on board.
So I have Francisca Klapic, Bianca Cook, and Liz Wardley on the helm. And they are sailing the boat really, really fast. That's our goal, to start to be in front of the legs, trying to capitalize in the end. So thank you very much for all the supports that all the fans back home are giving us. It's very important, and keep in mind our message also, clean the seas. So that's the most important.
But how are you feeling with your easterly position?
Yeah, that was the goal, to be always easterly. I don't know what you guys think over there. Are we going good or long term?
Federico, I've been doing this long enough to know that I'm not going to be tricked into giving the game away for you.
Yeah, once we decided to play the easterly, then you don't have much more choice, because then you're playing the shift in front of the fleet and you're attacking with a header. So once we were the easterly boat, we had to keep being the easterly boat because of the shift. So we compromised early on that, and we are happy. I mean, it was nice this upwind with a lot of tacks and strategic moves, but now some fast sailing is also good.
Is there any boat on the racetrack at the moment that you think might be dangerous for you?
I mean, the boats to lure, they are quite close together between them, so I think all of them are quite dangerous for us. It depends where is going to pay more. Can be good gains for us or good gains for them, and but the pack seems pretty compact to east to west, so can be very good or can be not so good. Let's see.
Federico De Mello on board Turn the Tide on Plastic. Happy with how the race is playing out so far. With their easterly position, there is a chance to make some gains, but rightly so, cautious about what's going on the other side of the fleet. Well, one boat that's there, Turn the Tide on Plastic, can see Team Axonabel in the pack. Are they going to be able to push forward with the rest of the boats and try and make a little bit of a jump? Chris Nicholson was watch captain, and I caught up with him just before we came on air and pointed out right from the off that the weather seems to have changed.
Yeah, you know, breeze is up at sort of 17, 18 knots now, and we're aiming towards where we want to go, which is pretty much the first time so far in the race. So, you know, the speeds are up. We're doing sort of between 15, 18 knots. And the boats are almost in a line. So we managed to overtake Scalawag and Brunel yesterday afternoon overnight. So we've still got a few in front of us we need to catch, though. The big difference out here is how we manage the clouds. You know, like we made a huge gain through the night on Vestas and Mapfre, and then lost it in another cloud just later on this morning. So you know, it's all about managing the clouds. I think when we're in a straight line in the same breeze, the differences aren't going to be huge, or not enough. The deciding factor will be getting through these clouds and squalls better.
With speed becoming such a big factor, what are you guys adjusting on the boat? What's your go-to area to find some more pace?
We've just gone through sort of several different iterations on the trim of the J0 in the last 40 minutes, because we thought we had a nice, you know, sweet spot for the sail, and then I asked for an adjustment, and I don't think it was good, and now we're struggling to get back to that. So so there's a fair bit of, you know, then I go downstairs, look at the instruments and look at the, you know, we obviously monitor everything on board, so all the speeds, all the loads, and then try and nut through it and get back to where we were with the percentages, really.
Well, Chris Nicholson there, and as the sailors are saying, and the race experts as well, the next 24 hours, the next 2 days, very critical indeed. And to help us out with that, the tracker is now live and will be live for the next 24 hours. So you can follow every single movement on the race course minute by minute. And the other way that you can keep up to date with everything that's going on is all the multimedia coming off from the boats. We have on each boat an embedded multimedia reporter sending off photos, videos, blogs, and just to share some of their incredible work over the last day, we've compiled an amazing montage of all the incredible drama out in the water.
Get much difference between last leg and this leg. Much more difference. It's you know, we're on deck in shorts and t-shirt, the sun's out, got pretty flat water, but the racing was just as intense.
So we woke up, Matthew right there, Brunel down here, Axo there, Dongfong just there, so we're all close, but the breeze is sort of swinging around a bit.
We spent the first day looking at transoms, but yesterday we managed to sort of reverse the order a bit, or overnight.
The ups and downs play on your mind a bit, but I think that's the most important thing about being an offshore sailor is to try and keep a level head.
A whole heap of clouds coming up, it only takes one or two clouds to be on the wrong side of it, which you can hardly do anything about.
But, long way to go, but all good so far.
Plenty of action out on the water already for leg 8. We've got many more miles, many more days of racing to go, and a little bit of a competition. Now then, we've got a very special prize, a very special indeed. Details of the competition will be following tomorrow, but take a look at this. This is what you could win. Alicante is where we are. That's the home of the Volvo Ocean Race, where the Volvo Ocean Race headquarters is located. And as the stopover poster, we have got all 7 skippers to sign it. These are absolutely unique. Unbelievable prize for you. Details of how you could be the winner will be in tomorrow's show. Plus, we're going to be talking to Mafre. If you've got any questions for the Spanish team, the team that were the overall leader, but still only 1 point in it. If you've got questions for them, put them in the comments below and we will pass them on tomorrow when we get a chance to talk to them. We've got the quick fix in the morning. Conrad Coleman is back for the Daily Show tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.